And with the quorum, I'm going to call this meeting to order, a special meeting. And first item to consider is approval of the updated CVB budget. So I'll need a motion in a second so we can have a discussion.
I've got some questions about the budget, and if I'm taking up too much time.
No, not at all. But we'll entertain a motion and get a second, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
I made a copy.
Yes, sir.
I move approval of the budget.
Okay. Ms. Luna, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. I'll open it up for any discussion. Mr. Nelson.
Just my lack of knowledge on some of this. We have restrooms that we rent out, restroom rentals, trailer rentals.
We do.
We own them, or
It's a comfort station
okay,
for events and,
but we own them.
yes, sir.
CVB, okay.
Yes, sir.
And I see you have some expenses associated with it. We currently have in reserve $71,081. Is that correct?
We have currently in reserves Bancorp South $166,869. So just over $166,000.
This $71,081 that you're showing it as income.
Yes, sir. What that is on the budget is that is what we would need to pull from our reserves to make up the
balance budget.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any policies that refer to how much money we should put in reserves every year, or how much we should maintain in reserves?
As a general rule, we follow the city's guideline of trying to keep about 25% of our budget in reserves, and I don't believe that is a hard fast written into our.
Okay.
Just as a rule of thumb, and just overall in the budget, very simply put, I anticipate a shortfall of about $80,000 in revenues year over year,
okay.
And so we went through and made some adjustments and some cuts in some area throughout the budget to just shy of $9,000 in other areas, and then to make up the rest of that is why we put that number in there to represent the reserves number as what we would have to pull out to balance this. The only other area that we could pull from to make up that deficit as far as expenses would be our advertising and marketing. And, that's the biggest, I think, question we have today with the budget.
And so we haven't had shortfalls in past years, because I'm looking that we didn't have to pull any from reserves last year, and that this is largely based on the hot tax we're going to lose because of the exemption that the hotel has. And how did we come up with the 71,000 figure?
Well, the overall figure was 80,000 that I came up with, and what I did is I took the anticipated revenues of the new hotel opening, Fredonia, anticipated revenues, and multiply that by what the average room rate is currently in the market, and it gave me a whole number of just about $80,000.
Okay.
And so that's I came up with that number. I hope it's not that much, but we have to prepare for it, I believe.
You must be torn. What do we what do we think is going to change in future years?
I believe it'll stabilize itself. My anticipation is that with the destination location in our community, that we will now be, we have opened ourselves up to a new market, if you will, that was not available to this community without that facility.
Absolutely.
And that is the main marketing push from the Fredonia is to get association business and convention business from outside our current scope of guests we have coming in. So the goal is to float all boats with
Yes. And, I don't like the idea of taking it from the marketing budget because I think that, as you said, right, right now we have a fantastic new facility that is going to potentially bring in lots of sales tax, lots of, grow our economy. And I'm more interested than that than I am the financial, success of the CVB, because we exist to make those people successful. But being that, our largest source of revenue is the hotel, where will that $80,000 be made up for in the future if it's not made up for in room tax? I mean, is there any, I doubt we're going to get $80,000 in any of these other sources of income. Are there any other sources of revenue by which this extra activity in our economy is going to put money back into our budget? We're just going to have to kind of work, figure that out.
No, not notably at all. That is strictly hot funds.
Yeah.
That would do that, and I do believe that we'll have this next year will affect us. We'll have a dip, but in the future years after that, I think it will stabilize and we'll get an increase of business over and beyond what we currently see. And so, and then it'll cause a compression in the market. And so the other hotels in the community will benefit from it, and that will replenish our hot funds.
And then have we looked at what type of, realistically what we could expect if we started collecting on Airbnb and VRBO and, some of these?
No, and that's something we'll explore with the city and Mr. Jeffers in the future to see what that impact would be for us.
Okay, thanks.
We have down here that we're going to eliminate $2,500 for consulting. Where is the money for the headhunters that we were hiring? Is that reflected in this budget somewhere, or
Is not in the new budget?
Right now, it's all going into, I've got a special category for salaries.
Okay.
Because Carl's salary's not in there anymore, but
So the bulk of those funds will balance with the absence of the payroll of Carl, of the former director. I don't think it will exactly balance, but the bulk of it will. Have any other questions on the budget? If there be no other questions, call for a vote. All in favor of approval of the CVB amended budget, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Good. Next item on the agenda is consider the extension of city benefits to CVB employees. In discussions with our headhunter company, in order to get the largest pool of candidates and make the position as attractive as possible. They believe that the extending that base of benefits to potential candidate would open us up to a lot more viable candidates. This is not without precedent. This has been done at the Nacogdoches Economic Development Company recently, and I spoke with Mr. Stokes about that transition and his opinion on how it's going and how it affected the day-to-day, and basically he said that he feels it was instrumental and very helpful in getting a pool of candidates, expanding that pool of viable people. Nothing really has changed for them operational-wise. It hasn't affected their day-to-day at all, and it's the only thing that it would affect would be probably the total dollar amount. We would probably see a little bit of an increase in benefit cost on our side, and then we would the city would extend the benefits and we would reimburse them. I think is how that process would work.
You can't just get them to pay for it.
No, I don't think that
didn't work like that.
I don't think that was an option. But
they have no problem with us doing it.
No, and
I've reimbursed.
I've spoken with Mr. Jeffers, and he'd be fine with that process and doing that. Just it is the belief from just about all sides that would increase the number of viable applicants.
I have no doubt. What about right now? We will contribute up to 3% of their retirement, but they select their own retirement plan under the current system.
Under the current system, I believe that is correct.
Anytime that you can have an organized retirement system and benefits is a lot better than us piecemealing it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You need a motion on it?
Shoot. I believe so.
I make a motion that we take it to the city and see if they approve it. If that's the appropriate way to handle it.
And, okay, motion and a second. Have any further discussion? All in favor of extending city benefits to the CVB employees, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Discussion of the marketing plan and committee appointments. And I have put this, we've already voted on the marketing plan. We have that y'all have received there. I put it on the agenda because if we had decided to go in another direction on the budget, it would affect what we do on the marketing plan. But I did want to get input. We have not yet presented this plan to the city for approval, but I would like take this information with you, and if you have any thoughts, I'd be happy to hear them. And before we do present this marketing plan, we've had committees associated with the marketing plan in the past, and what we've tried to do is align the committees with the marketing plan, if you will, with the structure of the marketing plan. So we would have a committee that would focus on sports, a committee that would focus on the leisure market, a committee that would focus on conventions and meetings market, to help support the staff and drive these initiatives through. The new marketing plan that we have here has been targeted to specific goals, measurable goals, that we can then go back and report on and see if our efforts are being fruitful. So I don't necessarily want to appoint committees at this time. I think we need to digest the marketing plan, if you will, and if there's areas that you feel you specifically call to you, that you'd be very helpful for us to be on that committee. Then we will look at that.
One thing I do agree, and one thing I would like to see, I would like for us to consider is having Chris Hancock provide a marketing report, maybe not at every meeting, but at least the next few meetings, so that he can help us understand, how the budget's being allocated between the different types of advertising, whether it's print or digital, and
Yes.
kind of explain the reasoning for that and help us understand, sometimes, especially on digital, you can get very detailed data on, how many hits you had and whether people, how long they stay on the website. You can't really do that with print advertising, but it doesn't mean that print advertising is not successful. So I would like to have us consider having a marketing report from Chris, maybe at every meeting, maybe, at the next few meetings, at least as we start, into this budget year, so we understand the thought process.
Right. I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing that up. Mr. Hancock is here, and I've asked him to kind of go over some of the options that we have with advertising. You're prepared to do that would tie in with our marketing plan, and just so to familiarize ourselves a little bit more with what it is we're doing with the advertisements and marketing. Mr. Hancock.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to visit with you about it. This is it's a privilege, and I appreciate it. There are new faces in the room. I think I know everybody, but just to give you a little bit of background, I'm a Nacogdoches native, graduate of Nacogdoches High School and SFA. Our company is a family business that's in our 44th year, so we've been doing this for a while. We've been the marketing partner for the CVB for the past 4 years, and we appreciate that opportunity. This means a lot more to us than just a business arrangement. We care a lot about this community, and we take a lot of pride in the work we do for the CVB. So, having said that, I had, with Stephanie being new on board, we have been working over the last few weeks to try to start planning for the new year, get her up to date on what we've done and how we've done it, and to get her input, and to start to put together what it would look like in the next year based on the amount of money we have. So what you have in front of you are 3 different levels. We're making media recommendations based on, and let me back up for just a minute. Over the years that we've been involved with CVB, there have been a lot of fluctuations in the amount of money we've spent in advertising. When we first started, we were spending almost $300,000 a year. By the second year, that had been cut to $150,000, again, because of fluctuations in hot revenue. This past year, it had been at $200,000, and so knowing that we were coming into a shortfall, we prepared these levels so that you can make decisions about, or the organization can make decisions about how we spend dollars, and give you an idea of what it would look like, how it impacts what we do if based on the total amount of dollars we're spending. On the first page at the top, that's based on spending $150,000 total in advertising and marketing dollars. The first item that you see is Madden Media. Madden is a partner that we brought on board through an RFP about 2 years ago. The marketing committee, made up of the marketing director, the executive director, board members, and myself, brought in several digital partners, prospective digital partners, and had them present to us. We chose Madden as a group and felt like they were the stronger of the presenters because they deal almost entirely with DMOs and frankly, because our representative is Daryl Whitworth, who is formerly employed with the Fredericksburg CVB. He is their Texas representative and to us, and he brings a lot to the table just in experience, and it's great to have his brain to pick. And when we first started working with the CVB, I decided to hit the road on my dime and my time, went to Fredericksburg, sat across face-to-face with the CVB at Fredericksburg, with the CVB at Kerrville, with the CVB in Santa Fe, with the CVB in Georgetown, with the CVB in Galveston. What are y'all doing that is most effective? And we learned a lot from that. I mean, those are similar communities with similar opportunities to us, and we learned a lot from those meetings. At about the same time, there were consultants who came to town who did a study of our community and the opportunities that we have as a destination. How could we do things differently? How could we do things better? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? That group called Young Strategies formulated a plan that we have followed pretty much to the letter for the last 2 years, probably 3 years. They made, like any research, I'm sure it's not perfect, but it's the best research we have. So a lot of these decisions are based on recommendations that they've made to our organization. So Madden Media is our partner for digital media. This year, we had committed to about $40,000, we committed to $40,000, this $40,000 spend with them, which would be about 20% of our budget. We have not spent that much with them. We're closer to about $18,000 to $20,000 is where we'll probably wind up the year. They've not required us to adjust our contract. They've just worked within it, understanding that CVBs have to adjust budgets and those things happen. So we're recommending, whether it's Madden Media or someone else, we're recommending that digital spend at the $150,000 budget level would be at $20,000. I think there are some things that Stephanie brings to us that we haven't had before in terms of capabilities with social media and some of the digital function. So, that I'm not saying that we're necessarily saying that Madden will have that $20,000 portion. They may have a part of it. They may not be a partner at all once we get further into understanding what our in-house capabilities are. TourTexas.com is a part of the Texas Highways Group. It's a TxDOT entity. We are proposing there some sponsorship of newsletters and a web content program. TSAE is an organization of executives. They are people who plan meetings. Sherry Skeeters, when she was marketing director, asked that we add that opportunity, and it's an online. We have a presence on their online membership directory. So if anybody goes to look at who the members are of their association, they're going to see Nacogdoches. Quan.com email is an email program that we had used 2 years ago in association with the Chronicle, the Houston Chronicle. They do a 50,000 email send for us for a cost of $1,500, and we're proposing at this level to do that 4 times during the year. Their open rate is very, very good. way above industry standards. Since so many of our visitors come from the Houston market, we feel that that's money well spent. In the print category, Texas Monthly, we're proposing at 4 insertions for the year for a total of $29,000. Texas Highways, also 4 insertions for the year. And Texas Forest Region is a partnership that we have with that organization, and it includes some ads and content as well. From last year, we have deleted County Line magazine, so we would lose that based on this spend level if you agree with our recommendations. We do believe that a strong presence in sawdust is important to us because it enables us to reach alumni who can bring groups back here to visit and bring associations for conferences and meetings in the town. The Texas State Travel Guide is something that we're eliminating at the $150,000 budget level. That's also a TxDOT publication, and it is about $9,000 for a 1/3 page ad. It's an annual publication that's distributed in a lot of ways, including the entry points to the state from out-of-state visitors, where you go by the travel centers, the welcome centers that you see out on the interstate, typically on the interstate as you come into the state. NETTC is an organization of Northeast Texas Tourism, and we feel at the $2,700 level, having a presence with them in their annual publication also allows us to use some services that they provide. So that's been important to staff, and that's one that we've tried to maintain even at the lower level. The design and creative line is at $36,000.
Chris, could I ask a
Yes,
question?
sir.
Is there any way to determine whether any of these are effective or not? I mean, are there surveys that we have that we can?
Absolutely. Yes. There are, and certainly with digital, it's the case. I mean, we measure that monthly. With print, it's more difficult, but we receive reader cards from several of those publications. We know if people are responding, asking for information that they've seen in those publications. We get some. We're able to capture some of that information from people who walk in or who call or who ask for more information, and we do that through the pedestal upstairs and through information that Mike garners. But I will tell you that, and people like Texas Monthly will do a recall study for us anytime we ask them for it, a readership recall. But measuring print is a difficult process. I mean, if people walk in upstairs and you ask them how they found you, they may say Texas Highways when they mean Texas Monthly. They may say Texas Country Reporter when they mean a Texas State Travel Guide. It's not that they're intending to be dishonest. They're just not they're not recalling where they know. And so a lot of this just has to be based on how many people we believe are prospective visitors can we deliver for 1,000? How many 1,000 of those people can we deliver for $1? I mean, that's what it boils down to. And at some point, you have to roll the dice a bit to feel that you're reaching as many of those people as you can. For instance, the Texas Highways is frankly a little bit of a difficult publication to deal with because they don't negotiate rates at all. Because they're a state entity, they can't negotiate rates. Their lead times are 2 or 3 months ahead of when they publish. That makes it difficult. But they deliver a traveling audience. They deliver people to us that we can't reach probably any other way. If we look at who our target is, and Young Strategies defines our target, and they say we're not using dollars wisely if we're not targeting Dallas-Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and Shreveport. Those are the metro areas where our visitors come from. It's where the prospects are, and if we're not going there, then we're not talking to the right people. So We could have billboards up, we could do a lot of digital in some other areas, but those are that's the low-hanging fruit. And those are our opportunities. And so that's where whatever dollars we have are targeting people who are generally 45 to 65 years old, because that's who research says is coming to our community. We can broaden that younger a little bit if we want to, but with the dollars we have, we feel like we have to stay focused as tightly as we can, and that's the demo we're going after. And please feel free to jump in here with questions as you have them.
Thank you. And I think, as Ms. Luna brought up, in the future, I would like to see some of those analytics, or have you give us a presentation of what the results and the effectiveness of some of that. And I think that we want to look at some other, maybe some opportunities. Ms. Luna brought up an excellent point, like in radio, NPR. That speaks to that demographic, and maybe we can at least explore that and see. There's a regional show that is broadcast over much of our target area. So I do have. Do you know how much we've spent at Texas Monthly for the last rolling year?
For this current year, we're at 43.5. So we're spending almost 80% of our dollars places other than Texas Monthly.
Okay, so that was 43, about 43.5 on the actual ad itself to be published, and then along with that, this creative and design and creative line.
Yes.
Is the bulk of that Texas Monthly and Texas Highways developing that ad?
That's a significant portion of it, but it's quite a bit more than that. That is a difficult line to estimate, frankly, because this year we estimated it at the same amount. Once the CVB learned that the partner that developed the website wasn't going to write content, it fell to the CVB to write that content. Mm-hmm. Sherry just says, I can't do this. I can't. So we wound up spending several days writing content for the website. That was completely unanticipated.
Sure.
If there are things like brochure redevelopment that go along with a rebrand, which also occurred in the last year, those are things that are unanticipated because of the way we approached it the past year. So that's a difficult line to estimate, but a significant portion of that does go to print, but it also goes to digital. I mean, if you look at what we're doing in display ads for as a part of the Madden Media contract, or we would do whether it's Madden or us or somebody else, somebody has to design the ads. Somebody has to provide the images and headlines for Facebook. Somebody has to create the messaging, and that's a part of that as well.
So that line that's a budget number is an estimate. So that line fluctuates with.
Yes, that's not a set.
So it's put in there just to account for anticipated design and creative needs.
That's right.
Okay, so it would go up or down depending on how much that you develop. Okay.
And we've left that amount static through each of these budget levels. You'll notice that it doesn't change, which, I mean, we don't think the likelihood of needs change enough as that total dollar amount changes, necessitates changing that amount. So if you look at it, we're generally at about 20% of total budget for design and layout. Or for design and creative. That is about an industry standard.
Okay. All right. Very good. And I guess the main differences in these budgets is the amount we spend in each of these categories, obviously, and then the addition of county line and state travel guide back into.
We're just adding it back in. We're extending our digital presence. We're also extending our print presence to a point.
All right. Thank you.
Was it not in our contract with the website development company that they write the content for that website?
I don't know the answer to that. I would have assumed it would have been included
It's pretty standard.
They did not wind up providing it. So it fell to the marketing director, and as you would expect, they cried help. I mean,
Absolutely,
it's
kind of like they did half of what we paid them for if they didn't write the content.
It's a big portion of that. Well, we will find that answer.
But that was outside of my discussion.
Absolutely.
I don't know the answer.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Hancock at this time? Chris, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
This is helpful. Any further discussion on marketing plan at this time? That will move on. All right, this time I'd like to go into an executive session to deliberate regarding the evaluation of our employee, public officer, of our interim director. Evaluate that. So at this time, being 9:10, we'll go into executive session. Let's go upstairs. Yeah, we all.